Hi, it's Chris Rue here, and I'm really looking forward to helping you become the leader that you want to be. Today I'm chatting to you about another subject that comes up in the leadership world: how to calm that busy mind. So, what do I mean by the busy mind? Well, do you recognise that pain of having multiple tasks running around your brain and wondering how you're going to keep on top of everything? Do you ever feel like you're rushing from one event to another without pausing for breath? One meeting after another? When am I going to do the work that I'm agreeing to in all these meetings? Do you maybe recognise this general feeling of overwhelm, perhaps, where you never quite feel like you're on top of that task list? All of this leaves you at night with a million things running around your head, impacting your sleep and where you are working things over and over again in your head. Of course, that impacts how you show up with your partner and your family as well. Not to say anything about how you show up at work. Well, you're not alone. In this very busy, high IT environment that we now live in, we are bombarded with information. We are using technology more and more. Information comes at us from all sides. But those systems that we use to save time seem to conspire to engage us to do more and more in that time that we save. In short, work abhors a vacuum, and when we create a space, guess what? We immediately fill it. So the question is, how can you prioritize better and get back some semblance of control? Some of this is, of course, about mindset, how we set ourselves up. And some of this is about how we organise ourselves and our ability to say no to stuff. Today I wanted to share a simple technique that you can do to help you get back some degree of control. I picked up this technique some years ago from the apocryphal story about the CEO who was getting really fed up with the way that his team was working. They were very disorganised, and they were not following up on stuff and becoming unreliable in the eyes of others. So the CEO invited their consultant in to come and do a workshop, or a series of workshops if necessary, to help, inverted commas, sort the team out. Well, of course, the consultant would be delighted to come and help. But he said, just before I do that and commit you to a series of workshops and the time involved and the cost, so why don't we just try something beforehand? There's a simple exercise that you may find useful that you and your team could try for the next 4 weeks, as it takes about 4 weeks to build up a habit. And see how you get on. You can pay me whatever you think it's worth after that. Okay, said the CEO, that's fine, that seems like a good deal for me, but what is this marvellous technique then? I said, well, it's very simple. It's a 3-step process. And the first step is at the end of the day, when you're deciding to go home, say pick a time, 6 o'clock or whatever it is, write down a list of all the things that you need to do that are in your mind right now going forward. Everything. From picking up the dog, going to Tesco's, to that 3-month initiative that you want to set up, that culture change program that you want to engage in. And then once you've written that list of tasks, and there could be 20 to 25 of them in that first list, then separately prioritize them. Really quickly, this whole exercise should take about 5 minutes. You may decide to think about which is important versus urgent, but just prioritize that list. And then go home. You're doing a couple of things here. One, you're doing a screen dump, if you like, of all the activity that's in your head, knowing now that you've got a plan, that you're going to do something with it, and you've put it out there. And the other thing is that in the morning, you do point 3. And that is, you start at the most important item that you prioritize as number 1, and you move on with that. Well, see, I can't spend all my time doing all the big chunk items. I've got too much other stuff to do. I just can't sort of sit there and spend all my time doing that number 1 thing. So no, that's not what I'm suggesting. So just take that first top priority thing to the next step. So whatever the next stage is that you need to do, the next action in respect of that, then do it. It might be just setting up a meeting. It might be arranging a conversation with a couple of key stakeholders in the initiative. Whatever it may be, have that first step as your action. Once you've done that first action, then move on to the next, point 2. And what's the next step for point 2? And what's the next step for point 3? And so on and so on. The trick is that you're dealing with the large chunk items, which otherwise people are saying, oh, I haven't got time to do that, it's too big, I can't even start it. We never start these things. But I'll happily do the quick items that lower down usually on the list. The quick phone call, the quick email, because it's quick and I can give myself a tick for doing something. I feel like I'm actually doing work, I'm actually achieving something. And we all want to feel like we're achieving something. The trouble is that if a lot of those quick tasks are people chasing up on the big stuff because they haven't heard anything, because it hasn't moved forward yet, can you see how you're spinning a lot of wheels and a lot of energy in chasing something that doesn't necessarily need to be there? And that's what you find over a period of time with this, that as you work through your tasks, suddenly you're on top of the bigger stuff and the lists reduce, and you have this sense of feeling much more engaged and in control of what you're doing, because you are. And that, of course, gives you energy. And you're able to do more, actually, ironically, in less time as well. So that's the technique, nice and simple. In summary, at the end of the day, that whatever time you've decided, but let's make that a bit of a regular thing, that's when you aim to get out of the door, do this 3-step process. And by doing this, you'll also notice, as I mentioned before, how this helps you empty your mind of activity. So I'm really be interested to see how you get on with that and see whether over the period of time that you're now starting to experience a better balance at home and maybe even sleeping better. So practice now. You can start, set yourself an achievable goal, decide how you're going to capture your list at the end of the day, and tell somebody you're doing this, your PA, your team, and ask for feedback about how they experience you in operating. The benefits of this, well, you will feel lighter, you will feel like you're more in control, and you will feel like you're also moving forward on the big stuff. So do let me know how you get on with it. I'd love to hear how it works for you. The moral of the story, as told many years ago, was that the consultant received a check for $10,000 from the CEO as he was that satisfied with what had happened with these guys actually putting in action this simple technique. So make of that of what you will, but I certainly know that the technique is very effective, provided you try it for 4 weeks and get the habit going. If you found this video helpful and would like to learn more leadership tips and techniques, then do click the link below to get to my free leadership training that can be found on chrisrue.com. There I'm sharing a few of my tools and techniques that I've picked up over the years that will enable you to become a more resilient and effective leader. In the meantime, let me thank you for watching this video, and I wish you luck going forward with your leadership challenges. And thank you for letting me help you become the leader that you want to be. Bye for now.